Ever look at one of those Valentine's Day cards and, all the hearts and flowers and the
Yep.
promises of like everlasting love
Yay.
and wonder, what happens when that picture-perfect romance, well, it kind of falls apart.
Hmm.
Today we're diving into a case that reminds us that love stories, they don't always have a happy ending.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes they can take a really dark turn,
Definitely.
a deadly one, in fact.
Right.
So we're looking into the story of Stacy and Richard Sheik.
Okay.
They seem like a happy couple from Snellville, Georgia.
Okay.
Richard was really devoted to Stacy,
Yeah.
her 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
He even legally adopted 2 of her sons
Oh,
from a previous relationship.
so they were a blended family.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
They were really active in their community.
That's nice.
The kind of folks you'd see like volunteering at church or at their kids' high school football games.
Yeah, like a model family.
Exactly.
Right.
But as we know, appearances can be deceiving.
Yeah, that's so true.
This case, it's not just about a murder.
Hmm.
It's about betrayal,
Right.
manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
and how far some people will go to escape the life they no longer want.
Yeah, to get out of a situation they feel trapped in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's rewind back to Valentine's Day 2010,
Okay.
a day that should have been filled with,
Right.
romance and all that.
Right, chocolates and flowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It takes a tragic turn.
Uh-oh.
Richard is found dead
Oh, no.
at Bilton Bridge Park.
Okay.
It was this secluded spot.
Mm-hmm.
He and Stacy often visited for
Alone time.
a romantic getaway.
Yeah, exactly. But he had been shot multiple times.
Oh my goodness.
Now, at first, the scene, it looked like a robbery gone wrong.
Okay, I see.
But there was something that didn't quite add up.
What was that?
Richard's wallet,
Uh-huh.
his expensive truck,
Mm-hmm.
even his wedding ring.
Right.
They were all untouched.
So it wasn't a random act of violence.
No, it was definitely planned out very carefully.
Wow.
Lieutenant Dan Franklin.
He was the lead detective on the case,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a real puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
The first piece of that puzzle
Uh-huh.
came from the most unlikely source,
Who was that?
Stacy herself.
Oh, wow.
In a shocking confession,
Mm-hmm.
Stacy revealed she'd been having an affair.
An affair.
Yeah, a
Wow.
long-term one
Mm-hmm.
with a coworker named Juan Reyes.
Juan Reyes.
And not only that,
Okay.
she'd been supporting him financially for years.
Oh, wow. So she was bankrolling his lifestyle.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. That's a classic scenario, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
A scorned lover,
Right.
driven by jealousy and rage.
Mm-hmm.
Juan immediately became the prime suspect.
Right.
I mean, affairs, they often lead to messy breakups,
Yeah.
heated arguments,
Oh, yeah.
and in some cases, violence.
Absolutely. And the evidence against Juan, it seemed to be piling up.
Okay.
He failed a polygraph test,
Huh.
then he shaved off his beard,
Oh, really?
which seemed like,
Yeah, suspicious.
like he was trying to change his appearance.
Right. To disguise himself.
Exactly. And get this. When the police went to his door at 4 a.m,
Yeah.
he didn't answer,
Oh.
even though he'd said he was a light sleeper.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, it didn't look good for him.
Now it's important to remember that circumstantial evidence,
Yeah,
it can be misleading.
right.
It's like piecing together a puzzle, but you only have a few pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You might think you see the whole picture,
Yeah,
but you could be missing some really important parts.
right. And in this case, a crucial piece was missing.
Okay.
Juan's alibi, it checked out.
Oh, really?
His ex-wife, she confirmed his story,
Mm-hmm.
placing him far away from the crime scene.
So they were back to square one.
Yeah, the investigation hit a wall.
Wow.
But Lieutenant Franklin, he wasn't giving up.
No.
He was looking at every little detail of the crime scene,
Mm-hmm.
hoping for a breakthrough.
Uh-huh.
And that breakthrough,
Yeah.
it came in the form of something seemingly insignificant.
What was that?
Tire tracks.
Tire track.
Tire tracks that didn't belong to Richard's truck.
Okay.
See, this is where forensic science comes in.
Right.
Something as simple as a tire track.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a powerful piece of evidence.
Yeah, like a fingerprint, but for a car.
Exactly. Lieutenant Franklin,
Yeah.
he was able to identify the specific type of tire
Uh-huh.
that left those marks in the dirt road
Okay.
leading to the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Those tire tracks
Yeah.
led him to a suspect
Oh, okay.
no one saw coming.
Who was that?
Lenitra Ross.
Lenitra Ross.
Now, who is Lenitra Ross?
Right.
Well, she was not only Stacy's coworker,
Okay.
but also your tenant.
Oh, wow.
They seemed to have a close relationship, which made this new development even more baffling.
So the plot was thickening.
Yeah, for sure.
What was Lenitra's involvement in all of this?
That's the question.
Right? Was she a willing accomplice,
Mm.
or was she just a pawn in Stacy's game?
Yeah, the police needed more evidence
Of course.
to link Lenitra to the murder.
Right.
So they used a technique called a tower dump.
Okay.
A tower dump.
Yeah, sounds kind of intimidating.
It does.
But it's basically a way for investigators to analyze cell phone data
Oh, I see.
in a specific area
Oh.
at a specific time.
Right.
They can see who was making calls, sending texts,
Yeah.
and even figure out their location
Wow.
based on which cell phone tower their phone was connected to.
So it's all about tracking their movements through their phone.
Exactly. And what did the tower dump reveal?
So I'm curious.
Well, there was a mysterious contact
Uh-huh.
in Stacy's phone,
Okay.
listed only as Reggie.
Reggie.
It was like a secret code.
Yeah. Who was this Reggie,
Right.
and what was his role in all of this?
Well, Reggie turned out to be Reggie Coleman,
Reggie Coleman?
a personal trainer with
Right.
a criminal past.
Interesting.
And wouldn't you know it,
what?
he was in contact with Lenitra
Oh,
the night of the murder. Things are starting to add up now.
Yeah, they are. The phone records,
Mm-hmm.
along with some suspicious email activity.
What kind of activity?
Stacy had deleted messages about large money transfers
Oh,
to Lenitra.
interesting.
So it all pointed to a chilling possibility,
What's that?
a murder-for-hire plot.
Murder for hire. That's a whole other level.
Yeah, murder for hire is dark,
Yeah.
and it can be really complex. The motives can be anything from greed and revenge
Mm-hmm.
to just wanting to get rid of a problem.
Yeah. Like a cold-blooded solution.
Right, it's a world where human life is just a transaction.
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
Definitely.
And as the police dug deeper, it became clear that Stacy was at the center of this deadly transaction.
Wow, she was the mastermind.
Yeah, you could say that to untangle this web of deceit,
Right.
the police launched Operation Tangled Web.
Operation Tangled Web, I like that.
Their targets were Stacy,
Okay.
Lenitra,
Yeah.
and Reggie.
Uh-huh.
The arrests were quick
Wow.
and dramatic. Really? Stacy was caught off guard at work,
Mhm.
and she even tried to hide from the police. Where did she try to hide? In a locked room.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's often said that the best laid plans can go wrong.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Even the most careful criminals,
Mhm.
they can make mistakes,
Right.
overlook details,
Yeah,
or just underestimate the determination of law enforcement,
right.
right? They think they're smarter than they are.
Exactly. And Stacy's carefully constructed facade, it was about to crumble.
It sure was.
It's chilling, isn't it?
It really is.
To think about how calculated all of this was on Stacy's part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she seemed like such a loving wife and mother,
Right.
but underneath it all, she was capable of orchestrating a murder.
Yeah. We left off with Stacy trying to play the victim,
Right.
saying she was protecting her son.
Mm.
But that story fell apart.
Yeah, her son denied those abuse claims.
Right. So if it wasn't about protecting her son,
Uh,
then what was her real motive?
that's the big question, isn't
Yeah.
it? It is the one that investigators really struggled with
I bet.
throughout this whole case.
Yeah.
On the surface, it seemed like a classic love triangle gone wrong.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Stacy wanted Richard out of the picture so she could be with Juan
Uh-huh.
and have all that money she'd been giving him.
Right. And she was the one bringing in most of the money.
Exactly. She managed several properties,
Oh, wow.
and she was really the one keeping the family afloat financially.
So she might have felt like Richard was holding her back.
Yeah, that's possible.
Like he was an obstacle
Right.
to the life she wanted with Juan.
Exactly. And don't forget about the life insurance policy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Richard's death meant a big payout for Stacy.
A significant financial windfall.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore that.
Definitely money is often a motive in these cases.
It's like something out of a soap opera,
I know, right?
except this was real life with real consequences.
Devastating ones at that.
Yeah, Richard's life was cut way too short. His reputation tarnished by those false accusations.
Right. And what about his loved ones?
Exactly. They had to deal with the grief of losing him
Of course.
and then the shock of finding out about Stacy's betrayal.
Ah.
Absolutely. And they had to sit through that trial,
Oh, I can't imagine.
reliving his death over and over.
There's a lot to go through.
So what about Lenitra?
Yeah. What was her role in all of this?
Was she a willing participant, or
No,
was
I-
she just manipulated by Stacy?
It's hard to say for sure.
She was the one who connected Stacy with Reggie.
Oh, that's right. The hitman.
Yeah, she's a key part of the plan.
But she claimed she didn't know what Stacy was really planning.
That's what she said. But Stacy promised her the house
Really?
if she helped with the murder.
Wow, that's a big incentive.
It is, especially for someone who was already depending on Stacy.
Yeah, she was her tenant, remember?
Right. And don't forget about the connection between Lenitra and Reggie.
Oh, yeah, they had a child together.
Yeah, so Stacy could use that to her advantage.
It really is a tangled web.
It's like the name of the operation, Operation Tangled Web.
They got that right.
So what about Reggie?
Yeah, the hitman.
What kind of person does something like
Well,
that?
it takes a life for $10,000 and a used car.
It's a question that's been asked a lot.
Yeah, what motivates a hitman?
Is it the money?
Hmm.
A lack of empathy?
Right.
Maybe they get a thrill out of it? Hard to say.
I think it's different for everyone.
Probably Reggie had a criminal past.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, he'd been to prison.
Hmm.
So maybe he'd become desensitized to violence.
Yeah, he might have seen it as just another job.
Right, a way to make easy money.
But there's something else about Reggie that's interesting.
What's that?
He was also involved in mentoring young people.
Really?
Yeah, trying to keep them away from crime.
That's kind of ironic, isn't it?
It is. He was taking a life
Mm-hmm.
while also trying to save others from a similar fate.
Yeah, it shows you the contradictions in people.
Definitely the capacity for both good and evil.
It's fascinating and scary at the same time. This whole deep dive has been a lesson in critical thinking.
Absolutely, especially with true crime.
Yeah, we can't just take things at face value.
Nope. We have to dig deeper,
Right.
question motives, look at all the angles.
And this case shows us that even the most perfect-looking couples
Yeah,
can have dark secrets.
right. You never really know what's going on behind closed doors.
It's a reminder that appearances can be deceiving.
And that greed and deception can have devastating consequences.
Absolutely. But we haven't even touched on the aftermath.
That's right. What about the victims?
Yeah. How did Richard's loved ones cope with this?
And what about Stacy's sons?
Right. How do you move on?
That's what we'll explore in the final part of this deep dive.
We'll look at the lasting impact of Richard's murder,
Mm-hmm.
the complexities of grief and forgiveness,
Yeah.
and the questions that this case raises.
It's a story that stays with you long after you hear it.
It really does. So we've spent a lot of time, trying to figure out Stacy and her motives, but we need to talk about the others affected by this.
Yeah, the victims.
Richard's family and friends.
It's hard to even imagine
I know.
the pain they must have gone through.
Losing someone you love is never easy.
Never.
But to have it happen like this, so suddenly, so violently,
And with all the lies and betrayal,
yeah, it's just unimaginable.
they had to deal with the grief of losing Richard, but then they also had to come to terms with the truth about Stacy.
And on top of all that,
Right.
they had to relive it all during the trial.
It's just heartbreaking.
Their impact statements at the sentencing were really powerful.
I bet.
They talked about Richard being such a kind and generous person.
He sounded like he was a good man.
He really did seem like it. Someone who would do anything for the people he cared about.
And now he's gone.
It's a reminder that, behind every true crime case,
Yeah.
there are real people
Right, real lives.
whose lives are shattered by these events.
Absolutely, and in this case, it's even more complicated.
Right, because of Stacy's sons.
They lost their stepfather.
A man who loved them and cared for them.
And who legally adopted them.
Exactly. He chose to be their father.
How do you even begin to process that?
I don't know how you could.
Knowing your own mother is the one who took him away?
To have the person who's supposed to protect you
Mm-hmm.
be the one who does this to you.
It's a level of trauma that most of us can't even fathom.
And then there's a question of justice.
Yeah. Did those sentences feel like enough?
Life in prison without parole for Stacy,
Mm-hmm.
Lenitra, and Reggie.
Right.
It's a question that's been asked a lot.
For sure. Can you ever truly get justice when a life is taken?
It's hard to say.
The legal system can try to hold people accountable,
Yeah.
but it can't bring back the person you've lost.
This whole case has been a real exploration of human nature,
It has.
the good and the bad.
How love and betrayal can be so intertwined.
Exactly. It makes you think about your own relationships.
And the people you trust.
But even with all the darkness in this story,
Yeah.
there's also hope. Richard's family and friends, they're keeping his memory alive,
That's good to hear.
sharing stories about him and finding ways to move forward.
It's amazing how resilient people can be.
It really is. They're a testament to the strength of the human spirit.
I agree.
We hope you found this deep dive insightful
Yeah.
and maybe even a little bit thought-provoking.
It definitely makes you think.
It's a story about the dark side of human nature,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also a story about resilience and the power of love.
Well said.
If you enjoyed this journey into the complexities of truth and deception,
Right.
be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive.
We'll have more captivating stories to share with you soon.
We'll see you next time.